Well, we're getting off to a good start here. It's been quite some time since we've done a show last. I think the last time we did a show was 3 weeks ago on December 19th when we were talking about the markets were crashing, and we've been experiencing quite the bleed off. And a lot of people have been panicking and wondering like what's going on. Shout out to all you guys that hit me up on X and we're saying like, hey, when are you coming back? We need the Tokyo Crypto Show. We need you guys. Please come back. I really appreciate you all. If you do not follow me on X, go ahead and follow me on X right here. MLD Motivation. Warning, trigger alert. I am totally wild on X. If you are not a mentally strong person, don't follow me. Okay. But if you want alpha and all that more, come on down because I'm dropping some red pills over there on X. Alex is our master in charts and so much more, and he is going to be breaking it down for us right now where exactly we are. So thank you so much, Alex. Take it away.
All right, let's jump on in. So we had a bit of excitement, a bit of volatility. We're still looking at why we had so much volatility with not actually that much volume, but I'm sure as we go through, we shall find more on that. The main thing is bull market still valid. So honestly, for long-term people, and I've got a little chart I'll bring up a bit later, little tracker. For long-term, really nothing's changed that much. So we were looking here. We had our high at $108,000, looking good. This coincides with 60-day cycle, all going well. Weekly cycle, all going well. And then we came down here, beautiful, totally fine. Now, the kind of confusing thing and the lack of clarity that we had on the 30th, so right at the end of the year, was we pumped up all the way up here, 12%. We've cleared the highs here. This is the daily chart. So it's the chart's kind of telling us, I'm sort of in a new 60-day cycle, ready to go. So everyone went, cool, it's closed nice and high. What could go wrong? And then, and we kind of just fell and vomited for a few days. And that's where everyone suddenly got really, really panicky. We went from and I'll show you a little bit later, we went from in the 90s on fear and greed, all the way down to on the 10th back here to a 50. So that is a huge kind of reset. Everyone went from bull market's on, life's good, to, oh my God, do I need to sell? I was chatting with a friend of mine and he's like, what's going on? And he's like, should I be worried? And I was like, well, when did you buy? And he's like, about 4 months ago. And I was like, well, you're about 80% up still, even with a drop like this. By all metrics, things are going well. And it's sort of good to check in with yourself and see, am I feeling correctly? So not only was this crypto that fell down, regular stocks also kind of vomited and shat the bed for a while. We had a 3%, almost a 3% rise in the S&P 500 in one day, just to kind of whip itself back up. Maybe that was the weekly. But it had a huge drop, and then, sure enough, we've just flown straight back up here. So in a couple of days, we went from sad town to up, 12%. We hit $100,000 a couple of, hours earlier. And so the price, if it's going down, it should go down. And if it's going up, it should go up. But Bitcoin's saying, I'm just going to do kind of whatever. Now, some people might think that this is due to, a lot of the ETFs and a lot of people who bought in, more traditional finance. They bought in sort of in November timeframe, and they're enjoying some nice, delicious gains, somewhere between 10, 20, 30%. One of the members of our chat was like, the average cost basis for all of these guys is in the $50,000 to $60,000 for Bitcoin. And so for many of our friends in the world, unlike Australia, who has July 1 as our tax date, a lot of the world has, the 1st of January. So no selling. If you sell now, your tax is not due until 12 months from now. So perhaps there's something going on with that. Perhaps blah, 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 blah. So on the weekly, if I get rid of all of these lines, boom, we're still well clear of prior tops. We had a good thing here. So long term, everything's still looking nice and good. I will share, and John, if you could throw it up. Let's go up here. Something that'll kind of give a bit more clarity to everything. So here is taken from a few of the Bitcoin Live things, a few stuff with Bob Lucas and everything, how things are looking overall. So here is sort of a Bitcoin, 60-day weekly cycle, 4-year cycle kind of tracker of sorts that I've put together here. So 60-day cycle, we're at day 16 today. So that would be about a quarter of the way through. Generally, we would sort of close out after 60 days. We'd close out about end of February. So Bob has been talking about, we've had a weekly cycle and now we want to see a big decline. We want to see a decline of like 20%, 25%, because historically we get 20 to 35% declines about every 6 months. This decline from 108 to 89 was only like knocking on 19%, 20%. So by all metrics, it's really been nothing new, but this sort of felt quite intense. But on the whole, you can't really say that this 4-year cycle, a 48 months average length, you can't really say that anything's changed with a November high. Like you sort of, nothing has told us that bull market's over yet. So you might be sitting here going, well, what's the 60-day cycle doing? It's clearly gone up to make a new cycle, but then it came down lower than where it started, which is technically a failed cycle, but then it didn't close lower and then it shot all the way back up. What's it doing? And so same thing with the weekly. Well, does this mean the weekly cycle's over? Does this mean that we're going up now? Does this mean that we're going to dick around and we're not actually going to close the weekly cycle until the 24th of Feb, which would be what a regular, 6-monthly pattern would look like. So we're kind of in a no man's land here where you can accumulate more, because, it's just kind of dicking around sideways. It hasn't told us it wants to keep going low. But until we sort of get out of this end of February time zone, there's sort of not much clarity what's happening short term. Long term, high conviction. I haven't sold anything in all of this silliness. It does end up just being noise. I think if you were jumping in and out of positions, you might have kind of done yourself a bit of a disservice. And that's kind of, this is the time when people do that. When the market is getting all a bit frothy and crazy, that's when people make these sorts of mistakes. So you've got to remember what time frame you're working on. So if you're trading, then yeah, you might have been getting stopped out here and there, just doing your regular risk management, and it is what it is. Swing traders, you probably, $89,000 was a good price to get in. However, there wasn't that huge volume. So how do you know that that's a low? How do you know the weekly cycle's done? They're sort of not clear. But for everyone who's holding for the long term, this is just noise. It is just noise. And you should just be nice and chill and relaxed. All of a sudden, fear and greed, 10th Jan 50. We were up here in the 90s. 90s is crazy. Like the index literally doesn't go higher than 95. That's at the highest it's ever gone. And we got to that. So people were more bullish than they'd ever been. And then like a couple of weeks later, everyone's like mid-range. Everyone's feeling quite sad and depressed. So, 45 was about where we got to in like August last year when everyone was really, really, really sad. Solana was $109 and, it had gone to 180 and now it's down at 109 and everyone's going, oh my God, bull market's over. The reason why we feel like we might have been caught out a little bit is because we are not expecting the bull market to be finished yet. We saw all the craziness with all the meme coins. And that should be enough to kind of tell you, I think we're kind of getting to a bit of a top. When all that crazy shit was happening on Pump Fund, you're kind of going, it's a bit frothy. But we were sitting here going, it's not the end of the 4-year cycle. This isn't the end of the bull market. So whilst we might be reaching some sort of top in the short term, this isn't it. And we currently have Donald Trump coming in a few days. And I'm actually will be looking very closely. Let me close this one. At the chart, the number to beat is $102,479. That was the price on the 6th of January. That's the first Monday of the year. Now, what I've seen in traditional markets is whatever the price is on the 6th of January, we want to close the month higher than that. And if we're lower, then the end of the year will close lower than that January 6th price. So Donald Trump getting in should push Bitcoin higher than $102,000 at the end of January. If it does not, doesn't mean the bull market's over, but it does mean that we can expect the price to be lower than $102,000 when the year closes out. Now, that sort of also makes sense in the context of if the bull market peaks, we are expecting a drop after a top. But that's just to kind of tell you, are we going to get all the way to November? Or maybe are we going to be a bit lower? But overall, all this kind of panic that a lot of people have had, in the end, is just kind of noise. We're waiting for a weekly cycle to tell us that it's finished. It might already have. It might take until the end of February. We weren't expecting anything till September in terms of like a top anyway. So this really shouldn't impact people too much, but I can totally appreciate and understand. Like even I felt like, ooh, oh my God, what's going on? And that's why I went and had a look at the chart. Why do I feel like things are going poorly when by all metrics, things are actually going pretty fucking well? So check in. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a stop loss, we'll first figure that out. But if you haven't reached a stop loss, then just chill. Like just relax. We're very bullish. Long term, it's still good. So just don't spaz out and ruin it for yourself, because 99% of people will do that. That is how these things work. So make sure that's not you. Make sure you just keep and chill. And how you feel is a good indicator, but that doesn't mean that that is the truth. It might just mean that I'm feeling bad. That means everyone's feeling bad, which means, okay, is this actually bad or is this just a low and it's actually a good time to get in? So I could keep rambling and rambling and rambling, but basically long term, all's good. Short term, we'll see what what happens. We're waiting now to see what the chart tells us at the end of January, and then we're waiting to see what happens at the end of February. So long term, you should still be in. I certainly am. Yeah, life's good.
About the feelings,
I was about to say, I feel personally attacked on the spaz. I know you do too, Lewis.
and it's the opposite. It's like what I've noticed for 8 years now. It's like it's usually the opposite. The times you feel the absolute worst and you think it's over, that's when you go in. And the times where you're taking screenshots and you're euphoric, you should be getting out. So a lot of like. I actually read a book. I just read a book. It was really long. And it was all about psychology and trading in particular. And he said you can use your feelings and emotions as guides to your trading and to help you, understand how to trade better. And so I've actually been doing that a little bit. And
what was the name of the book, Lewis?
Mastering trading psychology, I believe.
I think I read that one.
But yeah, it was pretty solid.
There's another one called The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. It's classic.
I love Mark Douglas.
Yeah,
videos.
It's phenomenal. He talks all about this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
good stuff. Well, good to see that analysis there by you there, Alex. One thing that I think a lot of you guys don't realize that's important, which is probably the most important metric during the bull run, is the hash rate of Bitcoin. What's going on with the mining? As you guys know, if this is your first time watching, Elias is a guy who is out here building mining facilities, actually on the ground, building multiple mining facilities around the world, and he's going to tell us some data from his side of things. You're muted there, buddy. Just unmute yourself and go whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Can you see this good?
Yep, there we go.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so basically what we're seeing in the last months, or more or less since October, is that the global hash rate and the global mining difficulty have been going up non-stop. So this is the 2-year chart you see here, with this first top being the halving in April. And if we zoom down to the 6-month chart and remove the hash rate from the chart, you only see the difficulty. And difficulty is basically the amount of competition in the network. So as hash rate goes up, the Bitcoin network will increase the difficulty every few weeks, basically, to make sure that the block time stays at about 10 minutes. So if you have mining machines and the difficulty went up, it will be now harder for you to make a profit with those machines. And for miners, this basically looks pretty bad, But on the other side, we had new miner models, especially from Bitmain and WhatsMiner, which are much more efficient. And what we are seeing right now is that a lot of mining farms, and we can see this if I display the hash rate again, a lot of mining farms are adding hash rate and miners and are just expanding, especially in the US, where they have easy access to funding, to angel investors, and to loans, basically. So what a lot of companies are doing right now, especially the bigger miners in the US, they are at around $5 to $6 of electricity costs, which is a bit higher than in other countries that have a lot of mining. So, for example, in Ethiopia or in China, you might see something between 3 and 6 cents. And this means they are a bit less profitable than the miners outside of the US. But the trend we've seen is that they are able to get a lot of funding to scale their operations right now, which allows them to get better machines and to outperform the competition. And if we look at the average production price for mining one Bitcoin, it's at around 90,000 US dollars right now. So they are well in profit. And what we also have to take into account is, for example, this one is one miner model. Which is pretty widely used and deployed in the US right now with fresh capital from mining farms purchasing Bitcoin and lending against it. So basically using the purchased Bitcoin and the mined Bitcoin they accumulated over the last months, at least those mining companies that are profitable right now at the current Bitcoin prices. They took their Bitcoin and are using it as collateral to get even more money and scale their operations more. And if we check this pretty common miner, which is a mass market one, which is deployed a lot in the US right now, you see that it's making about 3,700 USD per year in profit right now at the current Bitcoin price at 7 cents per kilowatt hour, which is a pretty high price that miners would have to pay for their electricity. And the machine only costs $4,400. So this is not the only cost you have. You also have to add infrastructure and maintenance. And of course, you have employees that run everything and have to pay taxes in the US. But overall, for the machines themselves, even though the cost to mine one Bitcoin is at nearly 90K right now, they are making about 90% return on investment on everything they are investing now. So what this means is that they are collecting Bitcoin that they now have with the coming regulation and basically the better framework the industry and funds expect from the Trump administration. They will most likely invest a lot right now. And with the possibility of Bitcoin getting more adoption and going higher and higher, this also means that a lot of miners, I can certainly say that for ourselves and for the projects I'm with, don't want to sell their Bitcoin actually. So to wrap it up for us as investors in Bitcoin or in crypto in general, I don't expect a lot of selling pressure from the mining industry right now. And basically think that most big miners in the US will expand, will scale up, will help to secure the network and help build the basis for a long-term strong Bitcoin network that also has support from the US government.
Yeah, regulation is going to be something for sure. Thank you so much for that. I think a lot of people are grossly undereducated on the importance of hash rate. And real quick, before we get going, guys, two things. I want you to smash the like button, please, guys. We want the like needs to be hit in order to get this message out to everybody collectively across all platforms. We're closing in on 100 live viewers right now after a 3-week break from the show. If you want us to keep on producing content for you, you have to pay us in the form of pushing the like button. I think it's a fair deal. What do you think? James, you are the voice of reason in all this crypto insanity.
Shut up and take my money.
Oh, real quick, we got a CC Canadian 699 Canadian thoughts on Phantom to Sonic conversion. Any ideas for the team? Why Logic Exchange is not supported? I personally, and I think Adam can add on this for me. I think Phantom is dead. I think anybody holding on to Phantom, Dot, Aave, AVAX, any of these coins that have grossly and severely underperformed.
Cardano as well.
All of this, it's dog shit. So I couldn't really tell you anything on this, but I personally, I don't think anybody in this, does anybody hold Phantom? The only Phantom I got is the Phantom wallet,
not anymore, but
Yeah.
you could check for Spooky Swap, the actual trading volume. So before Sonic went live, if you checked on DeFi Llama, the trading volume Spooky Swap, it was looked like, I don't know, 5 guys trading between
Do you have a
each
number?
other. No, I don't have it in my head, but it's just not enough users, not enough money in it, not enough trading. And
I'll just
if
pull this up. Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
Yep, and if you're like for Spooky Swap, it's basically like Uniswap on Phantom, or was. I don't know if they switched to Sonic. But their main revenue of the project is based, or where is cash flow coming in a proof of stake system? Basically, either it's inflation or it's money coming in from users that generates fees or some other income for a project. And I think that's why they are losing developers too. They just jumped on Solana to make some money.
Let me just show you this. Again, taking a look here. Look, I'm just going to show you. This is live right here. This is what happens when I type in Phantom on the search bar. If I just type in Phantom, price isn't even tracked on.
But that should be because of the switch to Sonic.
To Sonic. Okay, so Phantom has rebranded to Sonic, is what we're saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just and anytime a coin needs to rebrand or they need to do some kind of revamp or something like that, for me personally, that's a gigantic red flag. Lou?
Yeah, I feel like it was a fail. And there's we have obviously Solana and everything that's going on with that. And there's Base Chain, which has so much potential. And now it's like we even have XRP and there's DEXs for XRP coming out. And it's like all of these things have, in my opinion, so much more potential than Sonic. Like, go where the devs and go where the people are going. It's like, what would cause a massive amount of people to go over to Sonic? Like, I don't see anything. I could see a ton of reasons why massive amount of people would go over to Base Chain. I could also starting to see why a ton of people could go to XRP chain. But Sonic, no. Phantom, Solana, we already had that. Tons of people, masses going over there. So it's like, go where you think there's a good theory as to why masses would go. And I don't know. I just don't see it for Sonic.
Yeah, looking at here. So if I had to just put my hat on, I would say that the founders are like, okay, well, we dropped the ball. This is terrible, and we've got 1 or 2 gigantic pumps left in 2025. Let's rebrand and target the largest demographic of free money out there, people who are uneducated on crypto, and let's rebrand as Sonic and keep it going. Because you don't do a rebrand if everything's going good, right?
Yeah.
You do a rebrand if everything's going bad. What was his first? He was Puff Daddy, then he was P Diddy, now he's Diddy, now he's just
Diddler.
Diddler. Now he's the diddler. So
Yeah, but the tech is pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah, but nobody gives a fuck about the tech.
That's the point. But they contributed with code more or less to the total crypto.
Yeah, then I think
That's
one of the
And-
thing that driving Phantom last run was that Tomb Finance and the Tomb Finance model, where
Yeah.
people were staking and swapping back and forth and all these different Tomb, like, because there were so many copycats that popped up with the DAO and all that shit. So I think that was mostly driven off Phantom, and once that kind of cooled off and people moved on from that business model, I think Phantom had pretty much nothing else to build on.
Well,
They-
again, it's very, very, very simple. Guys, we need you to smash the like button. We only have 16 likes. I need at least 30 likes on this YouTube video. Again, very simple, guys. Just very simple answer. Why would we need to rebrand? And then looking at on DeFi Llama, this is actually looking terrible. If you look at the volume, okay. That's a great super chat, by the way, brother. Thank you so much. Take a look real quick. So now this is a chain that claims that they have a market cap of $2.38 billion. That's pretty sus to me as well. And in 24 hours, they only had $16 million worth of volume. Volume means all selling and buying on the chain. Okay. So this is how you do a little detective work here. So that has 2.38 billion. So let's just go to another crypto coin that has about the same amount of money. I'm just going to go to something pretty. Let's go to this one. Let's go to Theta. Okay. So we look at the Theta network here. This is Theta. Market cap 2.38 billion, and then the volume here 24 hours is $53 million. So almost triple of what's going on the Sonic chain. And then let's just go to let's go to Celestia, 2.5 billion. Volume here 174 million in the last 24 hours. Okay, let's go to this one, Stacks. This is from last one, 77 million. I think you guys are picking up. Let's go to Virtual's protocol. Virtual's pretty hot right now.
It's hot.
Half $1 billion right here.
The new hotness.
Yeah, look at that, bro. We missed that train for sure. Let's go to Immutable, kind of a dead chain here. And even Immutable, terrible company, terrible chain, terrible coin, $73 million in volume. So then when you tell me, I don't know. This screams avoid, in my opinion. Who hands up for an avoid? Avoid from me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to hop in real quick, if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically on DeFi Llama, for everyone, maybe you can share it so people can see it. You can go on the website and just check the chain's total value locked. It's abbreviated as TVL, and on the right is the chain dropdown somewhere. And right now we're looking at Phantom. So somewhere in June 2023, they went below 200 million USD total value locked on the protocol as an L1, and they never came back up. And that's just over. And the Sonic launched pretty well, but they are at 155 million total value locked right now. So not a good start for a bull market. And if you compare this to Solana has nearly 10 billion total value locked with stablecoin and everything. And Ethereum is at 68 billion.
Think of these chains as each of these chains as a shopping mall, right? Then developers or applications are stores inside the shopping mall, right? And the trading volume, you can consider that as a foot traffic in and out of the malls and the stores at this mall. Then the total value locked are all these investors investing into each of these stores, right? So in that sense, do you want the traffic and number of stores kind of steadily going up, right? Which kind of shows you that, hey, people are going and shopping at this mall, and the merchants are coming in and doing their sale and pumping up the volume. And also with the total value locked is that, hey, investors are seeing future potential of this mall, so they're betting on these stores, right? But as you can see from Phantom's metrics, that there's nobody's going to that mall. It pretty much died down after last bull run, and then nobody's building any new stores, no foot traffic, and the investors are not betting on the future of the mall. So it kind of all those things kind of tells me that it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like somebody in the chat relevant says Sonic is 10,000 transactions per second. Yeah, but that doesn't matter if there's
Shut
nobody
up and
using
take
it.
my money.
Like, it doesn't matter at all.
You can-
he's back again with another $6.99 Canadian dollars. Thank you very much, brother. He says the rebrand is super suspect. Again, like you don't do a rebrand if things are going good. Period. You could sit there and cope and say this is coming, this is coming. That's how you lose money in bull runs. Promises, promises, promises. Oh, down the road, this is going to happen. Oh, this update is coming. This is coming. This is coming. This is coming. No, it's not. Okay. Money is made right now in the bull market. Money is made right now. He says, if it was a killer upgrade, why not use the same branding as a Launchpad? I hold Phantom, looking to relocate. Bro, let me tell you something. Here, you want some financial advice? You are probably better off buying Fartcoin than you are holding on to Phantom. Dead ass. You are literally better off holding Fartcoin. Fartcoin has a probability of going to $2 billion. Okay. And you are better off holding Fartcoin than you are holding on to Phantom or Suspect or Sonic or whatever this crap is. Okay.
That's what exactly I did.
Divorce is better than Phantom marriage, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. Fartcoin to the moon. Hey, listen, hot air always rises, guys. Hot air rises. Shout out to Derek, our Fartcoin expert. We have a Fartcoin analysis expert in our research group, dead ass. I think collectively we've almost, I think between, we know some people that have made close to seven figures with Fartcoin. Just throwing it out there. So, yeah, Fartcoin is better than Phantom, honestly.
If you want to hear something fun, even Pulse Chain has a higher TVL. They're at 630 million. Just to throw it in there.
Post to $1. Post to $1.
Hey, it's coming, man. Listen, the Interpol thing, it's a scam. Okay, they are targeting Richard Hart. It's a scam. It's
they're trying to accumulate, man. They're trying to accumulate.
What do they say? Richard Hart has written 18 self-help books, but he's a weak fucking fat fuck. Okay. Oh man, I love it. Stupid people are the gift that keep on giving. They are really the gift that keep on giving. So yeah, CC, we were just gonna probably say avoid. Again, why are you rebranding? Why are you rebranding? That's the most suspect things. You guys, if you have to think overly complex about a subject, or you have to think like when James, I lost $200,000 on Tomb Finance last time, right? Because when they're like, okay, this epoch, this wave, this fucking, like you have to like cut your hand and like spread some blood on a chart, wait for the full moon, and like then you get your tokens airdropped. Like obviously it's a scam. Like it doesn't need to be that hard. It's simple. If it's too complicated, it's a scam. Think of the Warren Buffett rule, period.
Also, the other side, remember, is that what John's saying, the other side of the coin is that if you're getting crazy high return and they're downplaying and saying that there's pretty much no risk, that's very suspect, right? Return is correlated with risk, right? So when you're saying, oh, I'm getting you, 40% a month, and it's sure thing, it's locked in, then nobody can touch it, then there's no rug pull, then it's backed by this and this and that. Well, yeah, you're always gonna say, how is the return being made without the risk?
Yeah, reminds me of SafeMoon. It's probably my favorite, like scam coin because it's like it's
Terra
safe
Luna,
and it's going to the moon. Safe
Yeah,
moon.
Safe Moon.
Everyone, what could go wrong? It's safe.
Safe moon. It's good. It's good.
So it's the same thing with all the Celsius. Remember Celsius?
Yeah.
They were generating double-digit returns, and they're like, "Oh, it's backed by all this." It was backed by Terra Luna. Jesus Christ!
Look, I just want to show you. This is Fartcoin, chat. Okay, so this is Fartcoin. Fartcoin has $140 million in volume, and it has 1.2. So it has $1 billion less, and it has more volume. Okay. Hot air rises. Anyways, James, we kind of stole away from your section. You want to go ahead and get back us on what else? BitTensorTal again. You need to elaborate when you say what about BitTensorTal, my friend. But I don't hold any personally.
That's more of a AI play. That's more of AI. I think it's more of a AI infrastructure play because I looked into that. It was doing well when the AI theme was hot earlier. It cooled off a little bit, just like the Render and Nosara. I hold both actually, and some BitSensor. So I think it's a still solid play. It just cooled off because the AI narrative has shifted from AI infrastructure to AI agents, right? So that's the shift that was made. But I think AI theme is still valid and alive.
Oh, James, the AI theme is very, very, very alive. The mind share for AI actually hit 50% the other day on Kaito.
Jesus.
Yeah. So half of and you guys, if you want to talk, I mean, if you do any kind of studying about AI and the coming AI crisis that's going to literally impact the whole world, it's coming for everybody. It's coming for 9 times out of 10. It's coming for your job, and it's also here in crypto. So like betting against AI. I mean, hey, Fartcoin is to AI coin, like just dead ass. It is
dead ass.
I know, right? Dead ass Fartcoin's ripping. But yeah, like the AI problem is real and it's going to continue to come here. So anything regarded to AI is, more likely going to be bullish than not. I think we're going to kind of go into this a little bit later, but the market 2025 is going to be heavily influenced by AI, without a shadow of a doubt, in regards to cryptocurrency. There's no doubt in my mind. Anyways, James, let's go back to you. We kind of cut you off there. TradFi.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that's driving is this fear of future potential rate cuts, right? Because Fed has been this kind of very, they cannot make up their mind about the future rate cuts, and they're kind of playing with the market's emotion here, right? Because initially they're like, oh, we got all these rate cuts coming because it's not looking so good. Then they're like, well, now we think that, inflation print is coming in hotter than expected. So do not expect more than 2 cuts next year. But now the inflation just came in cooler than it was expected. So now, as you can see, when the potential, remember, it's not the real inflation or the real rate cuts, but the potential of the rate cuts when they're talking about, right? So when that gets kind of whipsawed, market kind of whipsaws along with it. But this is kind of where this whole trading psychology comes in, right? So once we kind of started this journey last year with all of us on this crypto run here, and we came up with our trading plan and trading framework. Once the trading plan is acceptable and you enter into a trade, you're kind of stuck, guys. You're stuck until either the stop loss gets hit, then you get stopped out, which is fine, or either your target gets hit and you start liquidating and get out of the trade. Or the third instance would be the duration of the trade go past. So our duration, remember, was that we are expecting the top to be somewhere after the summer of 2025. So we have not met the duration. Then now we got to kind of go back and check your stop loss, where that pain point is for your trade, and your target. If your target for Bitcoin was $100,000, congratulations, you should have gotten out, right? But where we get into trouble is this during this sideways market, the whipsawing period, where you already have your money on the line and this market action is driving your emotion. And you're trying to make the adjustment on the fly while basing a lot of this stuff on your emotions, not your logic. So unless you get out of that current trade you're in, which was based on your trading plan from earlier, and go all the way to cash, I recommend that you do not mess with your trading plan or your trading position, because right now you're kind of being driven by your emotion due to market reaction, not anything changed in your trading plan, right? So if you want to change, you think there's something fundamentally changed with the market, then go ahead and get out of your position from the previous trading plan and go into cash or stables, whatnot, right? Then you can reevaluate, research it, adjust your trading plan, then start a new trading position based on your new trading plan that you just built, right? But you shouldn't adjust the plan in the middle of the trade, okay? So it's kind of like you are leading an army into a battle or war, and you're the general, and you can come up with your battle plan, and you engage in the battle with your enemy, and you start seeing your soldiers get hurt or dying. So you said, okay, I surrender, I get out, right? I mean, as you understand, the loss is part of the battle or the war, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the back and forth of battle between bulls and bears, right? And you have to lose some soldiers to win the battle. You can't be too emotional about taking some of that volatility, because that's what leads to the risk, the tail end risk, the positive risk and the negative risk, right? Just like we talked about. So if you cannot stomach it, get out, reevaluate trading plan, then re-enter based on your new trading plan. But remember, you're currently in a play. You got to let the play develop until you see a red light, which is your stop loss, or your green light, which is your target price. So you got to just let the trade take its time to develop.
Yeah, I mean, it's like planting a tree. Right? You can't just expect a tree to like grow in like a week.
When you want it to grow, right? Tree will grow when it will grow.
Yeah, you don't go out there and like dig it up. You're like, hey, did this grow? Like, what happened to this?
Yes. Get some steroids in there, right?
Gotta some fucking plant TRT,
A lot of time it's a bamboo tree.
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain that analogy?
Yeah, so the bamboo tree stays underground for 30 years and years and years and years, decades, and shows hardly any signs of growth. And then in 1 year, it sprouts and jumps up like super, super, super high. And it's
0 to
almost
3 months, not years, but yeah.
Oh, it all happens. It all happens at once, and that's typically what happens in crypto bull markets. When you make the vast majority of the money that you do make, it's usually within a 3 month to 6 month period at the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bitcoin does nothing 80% of the time, guys. 80% of the time, it does nothing. It just goes back and forth in a little sideways trading range. And that's why we said those are the times to accumulate, right?
Yeah.
Accumulate sideways, set still when it's moving.
Yeah. And we got plenty of show left, guys. So if you're still watching, we got plenty more alpha. We got 70 people watching us on X. Shout out to Elon Musk. That is his all-time high for our X viewership. If you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube, type in Modern Life Dating, all one word, and you'll see us here on the Tokyo Crypto Show. Come on over and click the like button. We're at 23 likes now. We need to get those likes up to, let's get those likes up to 35 now. And we're going to go, Lou, Crypto Lee, you have been known famously for literally calling the top in quarter for 2021. What are your thoughts on everything here going into Trump 2025 market predictions and all this?
Yeah. So like you said, Trump, it's pretty hard to be bearish at this point. So one thing that I noticed, and I'll see if I could bring this up, my screen up, is that, yeah, the Bitcoin chart did reach the it did reach a high, and it did have a lot of indicators saying that it was a local top, sure, but the actual total market cap is nowhere near where the total market cap should be or should end up for this cycle.
Where do you think we're going to end up? Give us a prediction on that, brother.
Sure. Let me get this up. In fact, let me see if I can actually share this. So if I just share my screen and go to the right here. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen now.
Screen.
Yeah. So this is the Bitcoin chart that I use for my big market analysis. And so, like I said, yeah, like we had the market top, the cycle top, and we did tap it. But what happened is, right now, I'll just go over for Bitcoin, is I was sort of expecting us to reach, down in the 80s, but the fact that we had such an insanely bullish move off of this major support area down here at around 90K makes me not as bearish at all. And now I'm almost thinking that we pretty much left these behind, and these are looking way further away than what they did just a few days ago. So basically what I noticed is that we made a high and then a low, a high, a lower low. So I was like, okay, wow, well, that's like scary now, because now it's, I'm thinking with the trend, I'm going to go with the trend. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe even down to $79,000, $80,000, and then we pump up. Then, like he mentioned before, we had this huge move up, and I was like, oh crap, okay, now we made a newer high, a higher high. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get in down here at the support, and that should be it. Like, we really shouldn't make a lower low after that. But when this closed down here, that freaked me out, because that essentially made a lower low compared to all these lows. However, right after that, you could see, boom, we shot all the way back up and closed it exactly where we freaking opened the day before. So that is just so bullish that we did that. And then, of course, now we're all the way up at, we went up to $100,000. And so now, because of that, I'm back to being bullish. And honestly, anywhere in this green box is where I would want to buy, because if there weren't enough buyers, like this is obvious, but like if there weren't enough buyers, like we wouldn't have reclaimed this all the way back up here. It made such a bullish move up. So yeah, I if we do come back here, I'd really want to be in hard. But the thing that I wanted to go over really was this total market cap, because I did just make this chart not too long ago. I cleaned it up. It was a little bit messy, and I just made it super clean. And so you could see that for the total market cap, we have these Fibonacci levels that work out really well. Like this one for the 2021 market cycle, it came back down and hit the 78%, like pretty much ideally to the spot. This one right here, we had the big move up in 2024 and hit the 61.8 golden ratio, basically to the spot. And a lot of the times the extensions get hit like exactly in this case. For the total market cap, you could see this one from 2021, 2022, it hit it, and then it fell from there. But really, the same way that you could extend the lines from the tops on the Bitcoin chart and we hit it, you could do the same thing right here with the total market cap. And we are so far away. We are $1.2 trillion away. Sorry, $1.3 trillion away from where so many things line up. So we have the negative 61.8 golden ratio from the entire 2020-2021 bull market right up here. We have the negative 127% fib from this, which is accurate because this hit the 61.8 and bounced from there. So this should also be accurate. Oh, and it also hit this level right here and bounced from there too. So this is pretty accurate. And we have this this negative 61.8 right here, and we have this giant trend line. So that's why, even though we had this huge move down in a lot of altcoins and a lot of cryptocurrencies, I'm not worried because we have so much more room to run based off of the total market cap chart. We have the most pro crypto president ever in history coming in, which is like, so it's the best thing you could ever imagine. So many of the people who are in power are getting dismissed. They're being fired, and we're getting so many new pro crypto people in to the government, which should boost the prices up tremendously. And I'm sure you'll go into that later. And then the last thing is that the dominance chart, the Bitcoin dominance chart, every single bear market, or excuse me, every single bull market ended with a huge drop down. This was like the last part of the bull market. And we had this huge move down. And then that was pretty much it. Same thing with 2017. We had the huge move down and all the alts went crazy. And you have mentioned this before. At this point, there are over a million, there are millions of coins. So there is a huge dilution factor. And we will not get the thing where a rising tide raises all ships. You have to be extremely selective in what coins you actually get. But until we're down into this area, 49% around for the Bitcoin dominance, I don't think that the bull market is over between this and the total market cap and a lot of other factors. And I will go back to me. And so I'm obviously longer term super bullish for all of those reasons. What I'm doing now, though, which is more of a recent development, just basically because I've had a moment of awakening or enlightenment, is that I've been studying people who have made like tremendous amounts of money in crypto. And just like James was saying, you have to, stay the course and not get shaken out and all these other things. That is what I've noticed has made so many people so much money, is getting into narratives super early or early enough to where it will make a difference, putting in enough size where it will make a difference, but you're also comfortable enough with the size so that if you lose it, it's not going to completely wreck you. And then riding it out even through major dips, because I was looking at all of these coins that are up so much. And even the ones like PopCap, for instance, it went up 45,000% since it was started. And it's had multiple 70, 80, 90% drops. And all of these other coins have had that same exact thing too. So what I'm really trying to focus on now is to find cult-like narratives that have a really good thesis behind it as to why a lot of new people will join. And studying people who have done this before, I've created a pretty big list, and I'll have a PDF for that. But basically, it says a lot of things, all the obvious stuff, obviously, like don't get into coins that have developers that have scammed before, and don't get into coins that are vulgar or use bad language, and get into coin, because if you think about things, if you think about Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, Dog with Hats, all of these Pepe, they're all happy. They're all
Chill
good.
guy.
Chill guy.
It's all like the ultimate mainstream PG fucking meme.
Yeah, it's all PG. It's all good. So get into coins that are
Smartcoin's funny.
It's funny, happy, cool. People, it's relatable. And like you mentioned earlier, easy to understand. I like Brett. Brett is blue. Base chain is blue. It's easy. People get it. And so I'm really now focusing on what they call going into the trenches. Personally, my opinion is that base chain is going to be the next biggest chain. So and I think that the most amount of money will migrate towards there. So I'm really trying to find coins that are looking really good in there. But one other thing that I noticed is that a lot of my coins that were super low market cap that have done really well, they are actually holding up pretty well. They're holding up better than a lot of the larger market cap coins that I could get on centralized exchanges and that I've been trading on centralized exchanges. And I think the reason for that is because in multiple years ago, you could buy, any coin on a centralized exchange and it would go up because that's pretty much what we had. And then in 2021, you could buy most things on centralized exchanges and things could go up. But nowadays, the meme coin craze showed this, that people don't want to buy all these VC backed stuff that already have all these coins locked up. And it's like, so what do? They go to DEXs, right? And they get the coins before they get on centralized exchanges. And then what happened? Everyone started tracking all of the wallets that were doing really, really well. So then I think that the people who had the big wallets, they would just wait until the coins got listed on the centralized exchanges, transfer them instead of selling them. Because if they sell them, alarms would go off. So they would transfer them to the CEXs and then they would sell them because you can't track that. And they could even short it. If a perp and if you look at the data, every single coin that gets listed from a DEX goes up drastically, hundreds, maybe thousands of percentage, gets listed on a perpetual exchange, and then it goes down as soon as it gets listed on the perpetual exchange. And it's like, why?
I want to say, except Popcat.
Popcat. Yeah.
Popcat was ripped when it was put on the Binance perps in September.
Yeah. Popcat was an anomaly. And I mean, that was literally one of the best performing coins in the last 2 years, like by far. So honestly, props to you. I'm still so impressed that was the one coin that you decided to like go into like heavy. And I
didn't buy it. I just talk about it. I just thought I caught it on.
Oh, you're right. I
forgot talking about it.
Yeah.
I wish I bought it. I wouldn't be here if I bought it, right? I would be on an island somewhere.
Oh,
James,
yeah, that is true.
James would be on an island somewhere with a bunch of Christian women reading the Bible.
But I know someone who bought it pretty early. Unfortunately, he sold it for like 2 or 3x, and it would have been like worth millions and millions of dollars, of course.
Painful.
But yeah, I was actually studying the fumbles too, and that was a fumble. Like everyone else was saying, you got to find a good coin with a good thesis, do your research into it, and create your own conviction. Because I heard a good saying, you can't borrow conviction. You have to have your own. You have to build it yourself. And the only way to build it is through research of your own. And once you do that, put enough money. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting enough money in, and I think, I could put 5% of my portfolio into a coin, and I'm comfortable with losing that. And if I have, that's like if I have a 7 out of 10 conviction. If I have an 7, 8, or 9. If I have a 10 out of 10 conviction, then maybe I'll put like 40% of my portfolio into it, But it's because I've learned myself, and I've done this before. I had high conviction with Dogecoin way back in the day. I just knew it was going to pop off, and I put 6 figures into it before it was even a penny, at like 0.003. But I couldn't handle the volatility of seeing my portfolio go up and down, up $60,000, down $40,000, up $80,000. Like this is when like $100,000 was all I had at that time. And so I ended up selling it super, super, super early because I just couldn't handle that. But I learned from that mistake, and that's why in 2024 I put $20,000 into a coin, and I was comfortable because I was comfortable losing that, and that ended up pulling a 60x. And so it's like you have to understand yourself what you're comfortable with losing, what you're comfortable putting in, and understand the market. And if you could have a thesis that and have conviction, that helps tremendously. So yeah, I'm in the trenches now looking at coins on the base chain because that's my thesis. And I am going to do a little bit of gambling in the XRP meme coin trenches. I'm putting $2,000 into my wallet, and I'm putting like $100 into like super low micro caps on there, just in case one of them happens to like go to $1 billion. Because once again, I'm comfortable losing that $2,000, but like the risk to reward, the reward is so great compared to, and crypto is the other thing that I realized, crypto is the only place where you could get 100 to 1,000x like returns in a relatively short amount of time, with, you know, maybe one out of 1,000 coins, or like, you know, you have a decent chance.
Narratives too. Like if you're sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you're tracking the narratives, because I want to build on what Lou is saying. He's not just ranting. He's dropping some serious fucking fire. If you can track the narratives, like in the beginning of Q4 of last year, the AI narrative started with GOAT, and then it led off with Fartcoin, and then AI16Z. I mean, dude, AI16Z went to $2 billion in under 3 months.
Yeah, I got into that because of following the narratives. And also just I think there was a super chat about the super chat about Tau BitTensor. I don't know, but I do think actually that Tau BitTensor is probably the most fundamentally sound, like incredible AI coin slash like business company in crypto, like hands down. I just think it's so good, and I love the community and I love everything about it. And it's almost, to me, it's like, and the mission, and it's almost like Bitcoin, but like for AI democratization. And it's needed because when I was doing my deep dive into it, it was almost as if like it could, if it works and it does what it's supposed to do, like it could save us from potentially like the Terminator fucking ending of the world, where, you know, Skynet takes over. Like Tau could help like stop that. So I don't know. That's like getting into super conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat thing. But I do love BitTensor and Tau, and think it's probably the best actual real fundamental thing. I know, like in crypto nowadays, we like don't give a shit about fundamentals and technicals and you know, the tech and stuff. It's all scam. It's all a scam. But I don't know. Other than Bitcoin, Tau is like I feel like it's actually a real potential for something actually like fundamentally good.
And I want to show you some evidence here, real quick, chat. Take a look here, because this is just an example of how quickly, if you play your cards right and you understand where the narrative is going. Also, Q4, like we have all been saying, this Tokyo Crypto Show, we were unanimously sure that Trump was going to win. So when we made those plays, we also saw that the narrative. Remember when Bitcoin, and like James was saying earlier, Bitcoin rarely moves, but when Bitcoin moves, it's like a feat of nature. It's like walking. It's like watching dinosaurs. It's just like unreal, like seeing the Bitcoin moving. And when it was moving, the whole market went up with it. So that being said, real quick, I'm gonna shotgun through some of these AI coins just to give you some real life proof. So, for example, this is AI16Z, $1.6 billion market cap here. This was launched on October 25th, and by the January 2nd, it was at $2.4 billion, guys. Do you understand that? That is a ridiculous amount of money you could make right there. Going back to this is Fartcoin. Fartcoin was launched on October 18th, and it peaked on January 3rd at $1.5 billion. Okay, again, this is GOAT. This is what really started it all. Look at this now. If you got in and got out quickly, October 10 to here, 1.2 bill, $1.20. You know, so if you get in here at, you know, right, like launched at 0.002 cents, right? So real quick, I'll just throw some quick crypto math up here for you. So let's just say you had $1,000, right? Okay, and you got out at at beginning 0.002 cents. Now you have 50,000 coins, right? Or 500,000, and you get out when it's at $1 billion times $1. You have $500,000. You turned $1,000 into $500,000. Okay, so the opportunities are there.
Oh, and not financial advice, but I also really love this coin called Opus, which is the mother of GOAT. It actually created the GOAT coin, and Elon Musk tweeted about Opus before. So who knows if he tweets about it again? Probably not. But it's probably my favorite low market cap AI coin, and it's under 26 million market cap right now, which is pretty low considering it might go to 100 million plus. And that's what I think it will.
Oh yeah.
Well, I like
So-
to kind of talk a little bit about what Lou was saying.
Yeah.
What he was
And you
saying
guys are
about
doing a great job, real quick, you guys are doing a great job because the chat has come to a dead halt. When the chat comes to a dead halt, that's
Yeah.
when you know we're dropping fire, guys. But your fingers have come to a dead halt because we're only at 30 likes. I need 40 likes on the chat right now, guys. 40 likes. Make 700 fake accounts. I don't care. Just joking, but really get the likes up. Go ahead, James.
So yeah, something what Lou was saying, right? I like to piggyback on that. What really kind of goes back to me is that what he was saying, hey, I got in at Doji at this price, but then I couldn't stomach the swing. Then I figured out where my comfort level was. Then I scaled back and I learned from lesson. It's kind of what you're kind of seeing, guys, is how the smart money and the professional traders kind of develop from amateur to professional, right? Because if you talk to any of these professional traders, they're running billions of dollars. They'll tell you that 70 to 80% of trading or investing is psychology. It's a self-psychology, right? Because you alone cannot typically move the market or the price. So you have to be a market price taker, not price maker. That means only thing you can do is react to the market. And that's how your emotions get hold of you, right? But as Lou said, hey, as I traded more, I got to know myself more, where my comfort level was, where I can stomach the volatility. Then I grew enough conviction at some of my strong position to put in that up to the comfort level a little bit more, right? So when you're looking at these, man, it's a lot of it to do with emotions, and nothing really has to do with the did I buy it the right price or right? Okay, I mean, yeah, that matters, right? But 80% of it, it's just self-psychology. The market is like a mirror that kind of reflects back your emotions right back to you. And the question is, are you comfortable enough to handle that, right? So if you're looking at investing or trading, 80%, I would say, would be psychology. About 10 to 15% would be your trading plan and your analysis. Then there's probably 5% or so of luck in there, right? But again, this what you guys are saying, the psychology and the trading fundamental stuff like that is kind of pretty dry, boring stuff. But that's what really gives you that edge in the market, right? Compared to other amateur or part-time traders, they get whipsawed out every time the price goes sideways a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. One thing, I'm not one of these day traders or whatever, and I've noticed a lot of these traders, guys, they trade themselves to make a little bit of money, but 9 times out of 10, they trade themselves back down to zero. You need to buy and hold. You have to let your winners fly. You have to let your winners run and go, right? You can't just be like, you have to have some sense about the markets and stuff. Like right now, these AI coins, they are the typical meme coin, okay? Takes about 6 to 7 months to fully mature right now. But these AI coins are maturing and getting to $1 billion valuation in under 2 to 3 months. Now, we've never seen anything like this, and these things could all go to zero. God knows what's going to happen. But my thesis with regards to these AI agents coins are very, very simple. You have a piece of AI that is superior to a human in pretty much every way. It doesn't get tired. Its girlfriend doesn't break up with him. It doesn't get depressed. It doesn't run out of creativity. It doesn't fight back. It doesn't demand more pay. It doesn't need to eat. It doesn't need to sleep. It doesn't need anything but electricity and access to the internet. And it will promote. Its only objective is to get engagement. And the more engagement it gets, the more reach it gets. The more reach it gets, the more awareness it gets. The more awareness it gets, the more people buy. That's it. That's why I think going into 2025, AI is something you absolutely have to focus on. And if you neglect that, you will be left behind. It's not your, I'm not, and again, we're not saying like this is the guarantee, like you're going to 100% get like everything you want in life from getting involved in AI crypto, but the opportunities are there. People on this chat have realized these opportunities. Last, but certainly not least, Adam is talking to us about some really big cultural events and cultural news here, and huge news. You're going to talk about the ceasefire that was announced just a couple hours ago, correct?
Yeah, I was before the show started. I was telling the guys that I have heard that there were some negotiations going on between Gaza and Israel, but literally like an hour before the show started, apparently they announced that the ceasefire negotiations are over and they're done. It's apparently starting on Sunday for now.
All right, wrong one.
That too. It was mediated by the US and Egypt in Qatar. So let's hope that it lasts for some time at least. Hopefully forever, but it's the Middle East, so you cannot ask for that much. I've said it in previous shows. The market doesn't like war because war equals uncertainty, and investors get scared with uncertainty. So this is like huge news. One of the big two wars going on is potentially coming to an end. So that's great. We also have, on the other hand, the Ukraine conflict. Trump gets in office in 5 days, and he's been boasting about how he can end it with one call. I'm going to take him for his word and hope that he can, because getting that over with also would definitely be better for the market. The Trump administration in general has shown to be fully pro-crypto and being with the intentions to make crypto thrive in America. I was reading some of the strategy, and the biggest point that I could see is that to a certain degree, they're planning to freeze current regulation in the US. So essentially, maybe not to this extent, maybe it's a bit more controlled, but what I understood is that whatever regulation exists now for crypto will stop existing while they are able to push out new updated regulation, because they believe that the current regulation is too toxic and harmful towards crypto, and it's better to be taken off and have it unregulated while they get the good and actual regulatory frame in place. That's amazing for anyone in the US. I don't know what implications would that have, and to what degree that would extend, whether it would mean no crypto taxes in the US or something like that. That would be the ideal scenario, but I don't think they're going to be that generous. But they could potentially ease off on some of the persecution towards everything being labeled as a security just because it was launched with some sort of previous investment or stuff like that. That's the one of the biggest things the Trump administration is bringing to the table. As for other like geopolitical news, I guess Trump has been rambling for the last like 2 or 3 weeks about buying Greenland and buying the Panama Canal. So even though I think both are unlikely to be bought or taken over by force, we can definitely look at the ramifications of some of these scenarios. So in Greenland, I'm thinking more it will be some sort of deal where the US, so Greenland is technically ruled by Denmark, although it is supposedly an independent state. So what I could see happening is that the US will basically put the foot down and be like, Greenland is fully independent now, and in exchange for that, they get free dips on the oil and natural gas reserves that are being found out with the melting of the ice caps. Because that is what the US really benefits from. They don't give a shit about the 50,000 people who live there. They want the gas. That would be good for the dollar, of course, and more dollar power means more free money to be put into crypto. For the Panama Canal, the US could technically take it by force. I was telling the guys as well that the Panamanian constitution has an article where if the canal is ever in danger or threat, the US has the right to military intervene and take over the canal zone. A fallback scenario could be just the solution for that, but I don't think the US even needs that because to some degree, the US still controls what happens. The Panamanians are the ones actually laboring in there, but the US has a lot of influence over the Panamanian government. Like the reason Panama hasn't had any sort of crypto regulation was because every time the bill was gonna get passed into law, the US Congress called and told them to take it back. And I can testify on that because I was friends with some of the senators at the time here in Panama, and they told me that the US literally called to stop the bill from passing. But the Panama Canal would probably come to an agreement, I think, where the US would get the discounts that Trump asked for. That wouldn't have that. I don't see how that would benefit crypto directly, but it would just like make the US, I guess, stronger because they wouldn't have to be wasting so much money in paying the fees for going through the canal. They are indeed the biggest, I guess, consumer. They move the most ships through the canal, so yeah, they would definitely benefit a lot from that. In general, like yeah, everyone's on the wait. Just off the top of my head, the whole situation with Venezuela. I've heard from some colleagues over there that they're essentially the entire country is frozen, waiting for Trump to get in office to see whether he will say something against Maduro or not. Because if they could get Bashar al-Assad out of Syria, they can actually get Maduro out of Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is that the United States has no reason to do it. Like they wouldn't benefit in any way. They're already getting free oil from Venezuela, so the US wouldn't need any change in government there. It would benefit other countries. It would definitely benefit Venezuela as they've been excluded from the SWIFT system for a couple of years now. So getting banking reinstated there would definitely let them flourish a bit more. But I don't see that happening. It's just like the entire world is basically expecting Trump to get into office to see what executive orders he's going to sign on day one, because that will likely set a record for what direction his administration is actually going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in general, it's really bullish for crypto, the horizon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that phenomenal work there. I think that's really put very well in regards to a good macro look at everything. I'm going to go. So I'll just be relatively quick. So there's a couple things that I'm looking at and paying attention to right now. So first things first, like we did have a pretty violent sell-off heading into December, but you have to remember a couple things. One, Bitcoin just smashed through all-time highs. Before Trump won the election, Bitcoin was at about $68,000 roughly. We then went up $40,000 in 3 weeks. Alex, go. You want to say something?
Oh, it's just like the run from November was like 105%. Like that's the biggest run we've ever had in sort of a weekly cycle amount of time. So
and the largest monthly candle in Bitcoin's history, correct?
Yeah. Like I remember when we were doing the show and we were live when it went over $100,000. Everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Whereas today we're just like, "Oh, it's $100,000." Like,
yeah, it's like
gotta go kill myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off the balcony.
It's at 98,000. Oh my god!
Talk me off the ledge, James. Talk me off. James should get money as my personal therapist. Oh man, the amount of times James has screamed at me in 2024, it's just been wild. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The famous words of James 2024. James has kept us all together because we're all crypto degenerates, and he's like the wise guy who's been through it all, seen it all. You know, the war vet, the literal war vet too. But you know, yeah, you have to be understanding the big picture of things here, which is that, you know, we had a wild time, and everything in crypto, if something keeps on going up parabolic in crypto, like, you're gonna have a correction. If you want, you are gonna have a healthy correction, or it's going to zero very soon. Like, either way, it's going down. Like, it's not gonna keep going up, and you guys have to be aware of your biology. Okay, as you guys know, I have a bachelor's in science and psychology, and I had a really good time studying the physiological aspect of psychology. And when you are making money in cryptocurrency, your brain gets flooded with dopamine. And when your brain gets flooded with dopamine, you are high. You are high on a drug. You are high on the neurotransmitter, which is dopamine. And you cannot understand reality. It puts you in a sense of mania. And I have a friend of mine. He's, you know, great guy. He bought some peanut, and peanut was going up. And I was just like, dude, like, I'm telling you, you got to sell. You got to sell. You got to sell. You got to sell. And I was telling him to sell, like, literally towards the top. He didn't sell. It is what it is. We're all Lord's people. But, you know, he too, and he was his first, like, real big W. He turned like 700 into like $21,000, you know, but he didn't sell. And then you know, you round trip it. Round trip, it's when you write it up and then you write it down. You know, you got to be aware of your biology, gentlemen. You have to be aware that you're going to be high when this thing pumps again, and it will pump again. Couple of things going into 2025. First things first, Yahoo Finance put this out today. This is an article which is regarding President Trump. Okay, President Trump is going to be getting into office here in 5 days. Okay. Making America great again, making America straight again. Okay. The president-elect Donald Trump is reportedly eyeing a crypto executive order on day one. So an executive order is an immediate law signed by the president, and it's going to be regarding towards cryptocurrency. So that's bullish point number one. Number two, this is Donald Trump's actual wallet. As you can see, his wallet on Arkham, people are sending him stuff as well. But as you can see, he holds $16.8 million worth of cryptocurrency. People are also sending him stuff. You know, so you can check this out here. But this is absolutely the president himself, his wallet. You could go in here and see all this stuff. He has a lot of Ethereum. Okay. Now, a couple more things. Let's talk about the ETFs. All right. That is the story of the 2024 price action narrative. Bottom line, period. The only reason Bitcoin moved in 2024 was because of the ETFs, period. Okay. Now, the chart you have right here, okay, the top side here, these bars going up, this is regarding buying, and the bottom regards selling. And then it's color coded here. The ones you got to really want to pay attention to are IBIT, which this is BlackRock, and then FBTC, this is Fidelity. And GBTC, because this is Grayscale, and they have a lot of selling, as you can see. They were dumping
selling.
off.
Yep.
Yeah, they were dumping off in the beginning of last year. They were dumping off between Q1 and Q2. So they actually suppressed the growth of Bitcoin massively. But really what it was probably just a changing of hands, because the selling matches almost the buying pretty spot on here. Okay. Now, if you remember last year, quarter one, we had the top here at the 14th of March. That's when Bitcoin broke its all-time high, went up to like $73,000, maxed out around there, right? And you could see that is when we had all these inflows blowing up into that. And then what happened? We had a long and fucking desperate consolidation period from April all the way down to the election. Okay. Now, things started to pick up here around the middle of October the 14th. You can see 555 million inflows on that day. And then we started smashing record highs here. Okay. Well, I mean, on certain days, you had like $1.37 billion the day after President Trump was elected. Okay. So if there's no ETF inflows, there's no price action. That's going to be the narrative as well for 2025. Okay. So if you are not tracking the ETF inflows and you want to make money, you're not going to. You are leaving money on the table. And like I've been saying since the show launched, okay, this channel right here, HODL 15 Capital right here. We can review. This is the data from today. So let's take a look real quick. Grayscale with a positive day, $51 million inflow. Grayscale Mini, $14 million inflow. Easy BC, $3 million inflow. ARC Capital, $139 million. BitB, this is Bitwise, 33 million inflow. Okay. Bitco, 5 million inflow. HODL, 17 million inflow. And then here's iBit with only 31 today, but Fidelity, which is the number 2 holder, massive day, $463 million of inflows. It's not a coincidence that we're seeing all these inflows and Bitcoin is pushing up towards $100,000 and more. Now, I think that this is happening because we're leading into the Trump presidency. If I want to clearly stress this and reiterate this, if you are not tracking the inflows daily, you are probably going to lose money. I would say 85% chance you're going to lose money. You need to track this data. If you do not track this data, you book a consult with me and you talk and you say, oh, I lost something. I'm going to say, hey, did you book a consult? Yes. Okay. Are you tracking the inflow data? No. Then what are we doing here? It's public available information. Because if you're here, you're watching, let's be honest, you're watching here because one of two things. You're bored and alone, or you want to make some fucking money. And if you want to make some money, you got to track the data. Okay? That's what you see. Tokyo Crypto Show Season 2 is all data driven. It's no hopium, none of that shit. All data. That's what we're doing here. Now, this is a great account here. Gammy Chan. He says, people used to ask, how would you ever pump as hard as 2021? Well, we now have the first ever pro-crypto president, ETFs with constant inflows. MicroStrategy is now on the NASDAQ with constant inflows. $7 trillion in money market funds that will re-enter when rates drop, and a historically high DXY and interest rates that will act as tailwind as they drop. Okay, this is ultra bullish. Okay, Gary Gensler has been a thorn in the side of crypto for the last 4 years. Okay, Gary Gensler is a terrible individual, a slimy looking beta male, and Trump is firing him in 5 days. In addition to that, we're going to be having David Sachs as the head of crypto in America. He's going to be the crypto czar. He holds $500,000 in Bitcoin ETFs. In addition to that, he was an early investor in Solana. Trump has been on record saying that he's going to make 0% capital gains tax for American issued cryptocurrency companies. I don't think it's a coincidence that XRP is pumping right now because it is a American issued coin, and they are starting to get ready to approve some other ETFs. Now, moving into 2025, keep an eye on the Ethereum ETF. It did have it had over $1 billion in inflows after the election. The health of the Ethereum ETF will also be somewhat relevant to the health of the rest of the other ETFs coming. The Solana ETF is on the board. It's going to be the decision here. The first decision on the 18th, I believe, for a couple of these Solana ETFs, and the rest are like on the 27th, 28th, late January. We also have an FOMC meeting this month where they will either rate hike, cut the rates, not cut the rates, or increase the rates. Inflation just came in yesterday, 2.9%, higher than they expected. Not good news for them. Bitcoin pumped on that news as well. So there's a lot of data to be digesting here. But overall, the giant picture is very bullish. And the number one reason I'm bullish is because the worst president in the history of the United States of America is leaving office. Okay? And he is out. This guy doesn't know if he's coming or going. I don't know. This guy's probably going to be dead in 2 to 3 years.
You mean Jill Biden? Jill Biden? She's finally leaving the office?
Yeah, Jill Biden, the freaking name, man. You know, this is the guy right here, guys. So Take a look real quick at this one clip. This is part of his farewell speech. This is hilarious.
I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling.
Mostly from U.S. government. Mostly from U.S. government.
I'm so triggered already. I can't even let this fucking thing play. United States people, the population of America is crushed by the fucking ignorance and drunken overspending of the government. Collectively, everybody in America hates the government at all-time highs right now. All-time highs do we hate the United States government. And this administration has been the nastiest shit stain on the history of the American governments and the world. This has been an abomination. Let's talk about what they did. Forcing vaccine mandates, sending billions of dollars. We have sent over $200 billion to Ukraine. The Maui fires alone could have been completely handled and rebuilt and everything with $5 billion. The other day, they mistakenly sent $6 billion to Ukraine. Mistakenly. Yeah, me too. When I just misplaced $1 billion. You know,
I mean, what if they sent me $6 billion by mistake?
This would be fair and just. That's why.
Yeah.
So, let's go back to this real quick.
Period. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power.
Protect the children, like promoting trans children, right? Because that's like trans kids exist, right?
Well, then did you see? Did you watch the Joe Rogan show? Joe Rogan Experience with Zuck? He said, "Oh yeah, we didn't really want to censor anything, but the State Department and the Justice Department said if we don't censor it, they're going to shut us down." So it's been the government that's censoring the truth, not the social media companies.
And listen, if Kamala won, Zuck would be rolling out whatever the hell they want. He's just trying to survive.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
Yes,
That's not our hero at all. Zuck ain't no hero. Okay. So I said all that to say this. Adam Sachs is in. Gensler's out. Trump's coming in. But Bitcoin strategic reserve. Listen, if that happens, because the states are already leading the way. Oklahoma, Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida. Okay. The states are leading the way. And if we track the data and you look at everything that's happening, we are at the very, 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 very beginning of something phenomenally amazing. Okay. The January correction, if you look at 2017 and 2021, same thing happened. Massive dump off. Last year, we had a pretty big dump off. That was because Grayscale was dumping, right? But look at the fundamentals. And the biggest, most glaring fundamental thing is we have the first ever pro-crypto president in the history of the United States of America with a pro-crypto government and the largest economy in the world embracing cryptocurrency.
A lot of catalysts, right? A lot of bullish catalysts, guys.
So I'll end the show with this. James, you want to say something? Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, we got a small fire going. Now they're about to dump tons of fuel on top of the fire.
Yep. Because if you don't know, something's coming. Something big is coming. And we'll end with this. Take a quick look here.
ATM is safe. Your banks are safe. There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
You